Coming up on today's wrestling news, have a couple of former WWE superstars let slip. They could be appearing on AEW Dynamite tonight. A main roster superstar has made a surprise appearance on NXT 2.0. A backstage update on the WrestleMania 38 card, and a WWE legend wants a match with Sasha Banks. I'm Adam Wilborn.
I'm Michael Sidgwick.
And this is the news. So it is a big night tonight on AEW Dynamite. A huge announcement from Tony Khan is being teased, and a surprise appearance, someone walking through that forbidden door. My God, do we hate that phrase now, and shocking the world apparently, and slamming the forbidden door shut behind them. Lots of speculation, of course, about this. We've been reporting on it all week. It's Jeff Hardy. It's probably not Jeff Hardy. It could well be Keith Lee, but a couple of former WWE superstars, easy for me to say, have teased that they could be making an appearance on Dynamite tonight. Or should I say, let slip. You see, Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux were an autograph signing just earlier this week when someone said to them about Dynamite, which is in Atlantic City, maybe you'll be in Atlantic City, who knows? Now, Karrion Kross, he kept very tight-lipped about the situation. Scarlett Bordeaux, not so much. She turns to Karrion Kross in the video clip and goes, "Oh, is that?" And he's like, "Don't say anything, shut up." He starts effing and jeffing, going, "Oh my God, holy shiz," basically. But Michael Sidgwick, as the resident AEW fan in the office, you've written an entire bloody book about them, the rise of All Elite Wrestling. What do you make of this, and are you still sticking with your predictions for who it is going to be tonight making a surprise appearance?
Indeed, I'm still sticking with my prediction that we will see Keith Lee. If you want an explanation as to why I think it's Keith Lee, listen to the Dynamite preview on Spotify or iTunes, wherever you get your podcast from.
Indeed.
It will be dropping later on today. Yeah, work is work. Wrestlers are inveterate carnies. They want to create conversations around themselves at all times, even if these things don't come to fruition. They just like to tease. They like to create buzz around their name. I personally can't see Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux rocking up in AEW yet. And the reason being is that most wrestling fans get it. They know that certain wrestlers are kind of destroyed by the WWE machine, and they sort of no-sell the fact that they've been normalized and stigmatized as failures, because we know what they can do. We all know what Keith Lee can do. We know that he's an incredible babyface with an incredible moveset, an incredible style that wasn't anywhere near exploited enough on the main roster. With Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux, I would generously describe their pre-WWE career, and certainly their NXT career, as divisive. People think their actor's corny. People aren't too sure if he's got the work to back up some of the intense posturing. He doesn't have this library of incredible matches. He doesn't have this mythical name attached to Killer Kross. Like when Jon Moxley arrived in AEW, people just instantly remembered, oh, Jon Moxley, he's going to be different to Dean Ambrose. Yeah. Is Killer Kross that much different to Karrion Kross? Does he have this, like, oh, what a missed opportunity it was? I know the man's got to support us. I'm not necessarily one of them. That's a subjective take, but I just don't feel it in the water that people are desperate to see the real Killer Kross. Certainly, if he reinvents himself on the indie scene, if he can get the buzz with which he once had back, yeah, take another look at him in a year. But for now, it would just seem like this guy, even by WWE standards, is quite a big bust, and I don't think they're touching them yet until they prove they can do better.
Yeah, I think you're saying, not saying no to Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux, you're just saying not yet.
Well, prove yourself.
Yeah, and in terms of other names, I should point out, Dave Meltzer has said it could well be still Bray Wyatt. It's a name's got to be in conversation. Adam Scherr, the former Braun Strowman, should also be mentioned. Speaking of your... Well, that's what he said. His words, not mine. But speaking of your all wrestlers are carnies, do you sort of buy into that fact as well, with Keith Lee and Mia Yim being like, we're on a honeymoon?
I mean, that was not the best work I've ever seen, if I'm being perfectly honest, but maybe it's a, what's the word I'm looking for here? A red herring?
MacGuffin.
A double bluff.
Oh, yeah.
A double bluff. Who the hell knows? Maybe they're just quite terrible on social media. Who on earth knows? But it's all part of the fun.
Yes.
This is why one of the reasons why you're a wrestling fan.
Exactly. Let us know your predictions to who you think is going to be the surprise appearance on Dynamite tonight, and we'll move over to NXT 2.0, because last night's show was well, all over the place. There was a title match, there was Dusty Cup semi-finals, and there was a surprise appearance from a main roster WWE superstar. It's been teased if you've been keeping up to date with Braun Breaker on social media, because he's been in a bit of a back and forth with one Dolph Ziggler, who showed up as part of the championship meeting, or whatever it was bloody called, on the show last night. He interrupted Braun Breaker and Santos Escobar and their effective contract signing for Vengeance Day next week. Now, he teased potentially getting involved in the match, making it a triple threat. Then Tommaso Ciampa came out. In fact, it was Ziggler and Ciampa who sort of brawled to the back while Santos Escobar and Braun Breaker did their thing. But it certainly seems like Dolph Ziggler could be another main roster name moving over to NXT. Maybe not necessarily full time, but I feel like he'd be the perfect person to really showcase Braun Breaker. Maybe he fights him after Braun Breaker defends the NXT title next week.
Yeah, I can't doubt the logic whatsoever. WWE have released like a whole wave of like incredibly, immensely gifted, like experienced pro wrestlers who really should still be there within the system to bring on the very green talent that currently populates NXT 2.0. I see no reason why they can't. I mean, their own rule says that they are exclusive to a brand, but who really cares? I don't think anyone takes that seriously anymore. It's a decent workaround to give someone like a Braun Breaker a live lesson in how to work a match, basically. I know he's very good for his level of experience. This sort of thing can't remotely hurt. I didn't think much of the segment. Again, we're going to be reviewing NXT 2.0 later on a podcast, so subscribe wherever you get those from for details on why that maybe segment didn't land. But the logic behind the move, which I believe will be temporary, while sound, you have to wonder how effective it is. You have to wonder just how dead and stigmatized as dead this NXT 2.0 brand is. If you recall, very recently AJ Styles did something with Grayson Waller, and I thought they had a really, really strong match.
Yeah.
AJ Styles was on sensational form in the role. Couldn't have done more of a professional job to really elevate Grayson Waller, and didn't have that much of an effect. No, they're doing the right things, but maybe it's just not the right backdrop.
My favourite bit of all of it was Tommaso Ciampa calling Dolph Ziggler kid. Dolph Ziggler, I believe, is in his 40s now.
Yeah, but old man Ciampa looks like he's 80. So.
There you go.
He's a great wrestler.
Let's move on to looking ahead to WrestleMania 38. A bit of an update coming from WrestleVotes regarding what their plans are for this. They've obviously got the two main events, one would assume, sorted. Ronda Rousey challenging Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and Brock versus Roman for at least the Universal Championship, perhaps even more, could well be title for title. But according to WrestleVotes, WWE still are reportedly looking into another top match for the WrestleMania 38 card. This is because of the release, firing, whatever you want to call it, of Shane McMahon, who was billed, in their eyes at least, to be a, quote, major attraction match outside of the top title matches. The report from WrestleVotes also notes a quote saying, "This goes without saying, but the WrestleMania card is still in complete flux. It is quite amazing." Look, it's going to be one of those ones where you sense, yet again, it's going to be thrown together in the final weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, it amuses me no end that Shane McMahon is considered such a huge attraction. Look, the thing is, in 2016, this man shifted tickets in the tens and thousands when that match with The Undertaker was revealed. He's been living off that temporary nostalgia boost, and a not inconsiderable one, to be completely honest and fair. And for quite some time, I think he's a joke of a performer. I hate the idea that he was like the mirror man going up against AJ Styles, trying to outstrike Taker, trying to outbump Kevin Owens. Like, it's an absolute farce. It's descended into parody, but at the same time, internally, we all have a similar opinion, one would think, of Shane McMahon. If you don't, watch him UFC. Watch the real version, what he fails to do, and that will illuminate just how piss poor his work actually is. But yeah, he's considered a major attraction. In response to this, the solution, it's not who are they going to push, because they don't really push anyone. It's who they're going to call. And the key question really is who is left to call up.
Yeah, you keep saying this.
Like, they are, I don't want to say resorting to Lita, because I think she was treated horrendously in the 2000s. And it's really nice in retrospect, given everything that she endured, that she is getting like a twilight run in which she can really get over as a respected legend. But I'm not trying to be too harsh, but she's not a legend. She's not the best worker of all time. Enormously popular in her day, but I do think bringing in some of the likes of Lita kind of exposes just how far they have gone down as well of nostalgia. Who's left to call? Like, legitimately,
Got Goldberg already in Saudi Arabia.
We've already got Goldberg. Cena won't be available. Rock won't be available. Taker's hips are dust. Triple H, we know, is not in the best of health whatsoever, so he can't be parachuted in. Honestly, the best means, they might as well take someone like Orton off TV for a year, and then he can get that shine of, Jesus Christ, Randy Orton's back. I know he's really over at the minute, so that's not the best example, but they're going to have to tactically take people off TV, knowing full well, if they're honest with themselves, that the best way of getting over in this company is to not appear on the television shows on a weekly basis. It wouldn't surprise me, because they're cynical and clever about it rather than they are creative. If they start tactically saying, like, you can take 6 months off, we need someone to be fresh for me.
Maybe miss you. Yeah, I agree. I think there's still going to be some big matches already sort of penciled in. You would assume something like an Edge, maybe AJ Styles match would be great. I know Andy, when we were talking about booking the WrestleMania 38 card, had the Bella Twins involved in it, had Lita and Trish doing some tag stuff, possibly with a returning Bayley and Sasha Banks. Tell me if I'm reaching here. But as you were running through those names, the only one I could think of that could possibly be in that echelon of names you were talking about is someone like Shawn Michaels. Now, I know he was done, but there's a bit of me that always thinks money, and do you want that to be your legacy? You ended it perfectly, and then you came back with a Saudi dollar, and, well, we all know what happened there. So maybe even just like a 5-minute exhibition against someone who can make him look.
Katsuyori Shibata. Go on. Don't take the great name of 5-minute exhibitions. Yeah. God damn it. Look, that's out of left field, and it's like he's there. He looked better, far better than Taker, Kane, and Triple H, who were working way more regularly than he was. That's not Wilbur. For you. It's not the worst idea I've ever heard in my life.
The nicest thing you've ever said to me. Concluding our roundup of the stories today, though, is the news that a WWE legend wants a match with Sasha Banks. She's already had a coming together with her at the Royal Rumble. It's Melina. She posted a really nice Instagram post sort of recapping what's happened with her recently. She says, "Thank you for all the love and edits for a match versus Sasha Banks. I love them." She continued, "I wish that moment with Sasha was a singles match. To think if we were able to get a reaction like that, like we did that night without wrestling, can you imagine what we could do if we actually wrestled?" Shelby was very emotional, as you could see, at the Royal Rumble. She said, "I can wish for a match with you with all my heart. It may never happen, but whether it was 5 seconds, 60 seconds, or 20 minutes in the ring with you, Sasha,
20 minutes.
I'm grateful for that magic moment of the Rumble. No matter how short, I will forever keep that in my heart." I thought it was a lovely moment with her and Sasha at the Rumble, and then she just got dumped out, and I was like, oh. It's a bit of an anticlimax.
Yeah, I'll say the nice thing first. It's nice that a woman who was reduced to tears by 2 complete dickheads in the back once upon a time actually had a moment where she was celebrated as a pro wrestler for all of 5 seconds.
Out you go.
What's happened here is that anyone like in pro wrestling has fans. Melina too has fans. Those fans have said, "I would love to see them run that back," and Melina said, "Yeah, me too." And I'm thinking, a 5-second pretty brutal elimination. I don't think that's the seeds for a long-term story, if I'm being perfectly honest. Look, if you're a Melina fan, I would suggest going back and watching her genuinely underrated matches on the network, because that ain't happening at Mania.
Yeah, fair enough. Just thought who could face Shawn Michaels as well. Fastest rising star in WWE, Bad Bunny. There you go, fixed it. Fixed WrestleMania for you. Let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE. Of course, if you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Jake, who says, last year we got Max Caster getting a little bit of solo shine in the Face of the Revolution ladder match. Are there any individuals from an established tag team you'd like to see get that solo shot?
Cash Wheeler.
Oh!
Look, I personally think they might run FTR versus Jurassic Express at Revolution. Mm-hmm. They're in the rankings. They can easily tell a story with FTR, right, where they lose every major match, have a great match in the process, put over a team like Jurassic Express, because they could just turn around one day and say, you know what, we've not been the same since we lost to the Young Bucks, and then they can resume the Young Bucks rivalry on that basis. But Cash Wheeler is the most underrated guy on the goddamn planet. His positioning is great. Everything he does looks incredible. He's got an incredible mullet. He's an incredibly handsome guy. This is a man who, when he goes through a lariat at your face, if you don't duck, you're knackered. The intent behind everything he does is great. He's so great at measuring very carefully that which he can do, but doesn't because it's not in character. But when he does it out of character, it gets a bigger pop than anyone usually who can do a high spot. I adore Cash Wheeler. I think he's criminally underrated. I would like to see them be a little bit nicer to him, because I know Dax Harwood gets the singles matches more often than not. get Cash Wheeler in a ladder match and show me that beautiful mullet.
I can't argue with that. My suggestion's very lazy because I've just gone the opposite of what Jake said happened last time. Anthony Bowens. Big fan of what he's been doing recently.
He's been awesome of late. Absolutely awesome. He's killed it in every single... Killed it. I'm 36. White from Gates, and I shouldn't be saying killed it. But you know what I mean. He's been very good indeed.
Eddie Zamhari gives us our second question of the day. Says, hey guys, after AJ Styles, Matt Riddle, and now Dolph Ziggler going to NXT 2.0, who from the main roster do you want to see go to NXT 2.0 to help elevate the young guys over there? Eddie suggests Sami Zayn.
Yes. It's just not working. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know why it isn't working. Everything in theory that they're doing is sound. You get a guy with a following, with main roster stardom, going to do business in the right way with young talents who need the reps. I really like it as a development in terms of the creative and jolt in the arm, in terms of the logic behind it. Who do I really like on that main roster?
Cesaro?
Yes.
Yeah. Cesaro, I'd like to see.
He'd probably love it as well. He loves going to work.
Yeah. Sami Zayn's a hell of a shout as well because I always feel they never do enough with him. Hopefully this is his year. Maybe the contract negotiations have triggered them to realise what a star they've got on their hands, but only time will tell. Let us know your suggestions in the comments, and we'll move on to the final question today from Matt Rains, who says, greetings and salutations, my king and Adam. Oh, just Adam.
Yeah, well, I'm the king.
Oh, fair enough. He says, assuming tonight's surprise is Keith Lee, who are some of the guys you are looking forward to him working with? Have a wonderful day, guys. Love you, brothers. Love you too, Matt. Thank you for all your support, as always. Keith Lee, you've sort of mentioned this before, some of the people you'd like to see him work with, but yeah, what's that dream match scenario in AEW for him looking like?
This is out of left field, right? My dream match scenario for Keith Lee, and it kind of doesn't work. I know they don't really stick to really stark character alignments in AEW, so they will do a heel versus heel or a babyface versus babyface match. So maybe it's not too unrealistic, right? I would love to see Keith Lee versus John Silver.
I didn't think about that.
Keith Lee's so great at not just leaving his feet. Like, it's a bit of a misconception with Keith Lee. He's great because he can do things in spite of how powerful he is. He's so great in addition to doing things that he shouldn't be capable of. He's really great at selling how big he is, presenting that aura of how huge he is, to a point that when he works a match with a smaller athlete and they manage to do some kind of deadlift move, like Ricochet versus Keith Lee is an example of that. Watching John Silver summon every bit of stamina and courage within himself to like drop him with a sheer drop brainbuster. Like, what a goddamn huge pap that would get. So I don't know why, but I just think John Silver versus Keith Lee would rule. But it's one of those, like, if we can get the 2017 Keith Lee in AEW, you can put him on one side of the match graphic and virtually anybody else, and you'll get something that will pop your titties off.
I just want to see him pounce Marco Stunt. Sorry, Marco, I know I always book you in these scenarios, but yeah.
Legends say he never stopped flying. That would be like on every YouTube comment ever, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Right, let's move on to today's and finally, and a tweet from Becky Lynch, possibly revealing the sixth competitor in the Women's Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia next weekend. She tweeted last night, I want Wendy Chu to be the sixth person in the Elimination Chamber. How good would that be, her asleep in a pod?
If she just fell asleep in a pod and like never came in. She's already got the gear that they like in Saudi Arabia as well, so she wouldn't have to. They could save money on the seamstress.
Yeah.
If they get Wendy Chu in there. And they're such a tight bastard company that I think that's what's going to happen.
Can I have some money for some new gear? Oof. It's a little bit tight at the moment. Don't you get 50 million for every show you put on here? Yeah, but look at all the pyro. So.
Yeah, look at all that.
Get Wendy Chu in the Elimination Chamber. Let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. As Sige mentioned, we're going to be reviewing NXT 2.0 a little bit later on and looking ahead to AEW Dynamite tonight. Plus, you can let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. Watch there, you can follow both of us. You can follow Michael Sidgwick at
Sidgwick.
And you can follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCultureWWE, as I said. But for now, my thanks to Michael Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us. And we'll see you soon.
Hey, you! Yes, you, the wrestling fan! Have you got the January blues? Do other wrestling fans mock you and kick you in the balls for not knowing stuff about AEW, WWE, NXT, delete as appropriate? Well, never fear, because WhatCulture Man is here. I said WhatCulture Man is here. And he's here to tell you that if you head to shop.whatculture.com now, you can get your hands on all these great wrestling books, plus magazines, t-shirts and board games. Becoming All Elite by Michael Sidgwick, Development Hell by Michael Sidgwick, Shocking Wrestling Plans You Won't Believe Almost Happened, Shocking Wrestling Plans You Won't Believe Actually Happened, and 606 Wrestling Matches to See Before You Die. Thanks, WhatCulture Man. WhatCulture Man is a WhatCulture creation. DC Comics, please don't sue.